For assignment 3, I chose to read the book How Learning Works: 7 Research-Based Principles for Smart Teaching by Susan A. Ambrose and colleagues. As we learned in class, adult learners have different learning needs than traditional students, and many of the concepts highlighted in the book relate to and can be applied to aspects of andragogy. The author states that prior knowledge can either help or hinder learning. If learners have the relevant and accurate prior knowledge, it will serve as a foundation for learning. However, when prior knowledge is inactive, inefficient, inappropriate, or inaccurate, it will hinder learning. Activating prior knowledge will provide a good foundation for integrating new learning. Merrill's principles of instruction tell us that activation is important for optimal learning. Merrill highlights that activation helps the learner focus, aligning the new information with memory stored in long-term memory. For adult learners, using active learning such as case studies or scenario-based learning can help them draw upon prior knowledge and experiences, which they can relate to their role and job. Principle 2 tells us that how students organize knowledge influences how they learn and apply what they know. The author states that it is not what you know, but how you organize what you know that influences learning and performance. What sets experts apart from novices is the quality, quantity, and integration of their mental models. The more a person knows in a field or domain, the more detailed their mental models become, and the better the person gets at integrating new information. A and B represent knowledge organizations typical of novices in a field. C and D represent mental models of experts. Research states that explicit connections between concepts can be understood by novices by having experts do a think aloud process. Research states that access to mental models of experts or top performers is essential for the expertise development of novices. Instructors can share the organization of the course by using advanced organizers or concept maps to help the students see explicit connections between the information they're learning. Also, encouraging multiple organization structures can help students make connections in various ways. Principle 3 focuses on how learners' motivation determines and directs what they learn. The author presents this diagram to show how expectancy and value both lead to motivation. This means that the expectation of success and the value placed on the task will contribute to the level of intrinsic motivation a learner has. Expectancies refer to the desired outcome. People are motivated to pursue goals and outcomes that they believe they will be successful at. This aligns with the self-determination theory, which states that adults must feel competent that they will be successful. The author suggests providing a desired level of difficulty to the learning experiences to build positive expectancies. The author states that the value the learner places on a goal is a key element that influences the motivation to pursue the goal. Research tells us that adults are often intrinsically motivated when they see the value of learning in a personal or professional context. Principle 4 focuses on the development of mastery, outlining key phases such as breaking down the material into component skills, integration, as well as successful transfer of knowledge. Students should be given the opportunity to practice component skills in isolation so they can focus all of their attention to the skills that need practicing. Our working memory has a limited capacity. Research tells us that focusing on one skill at a time will prevent cognitive overload and create an optimal learning environment. Instructors can gradually introduce new component skills to practice integrating. This is a way of scaffolding instruction. 2 strategies that instructors can use are deconstruction of tasks and full worked examples. Research states that this can help students' performance on similar situations and problems in the future. Adults want to know the why behind the learning experience. Therefore, it is important to discuss when these skills will be applied and how they can transfer them to their jobs. Principle 5 focuses on goal-directed practice with targeted feedback. The author presents this diagram to show the relationship between practice, goals, targeted feedback, and observed performance. Having specific goals can help direct deliberate practice, which involves working towards a specific, reasonable, yet challenging goal that provides a clear focus for the learner. Whatever a learner is practicing, it should receive their full attention in order to make meaningful progress. Setting clear goals help the learners direct their attention to the most essential aspects of the task. This helps to avoid distraction and maximize learning. The author states that the key to effective practice is time on task. Learners need to engage in high-quality practice, but they also must have a sufficient quantity of practice opportunities to develop mastery of skills. Increasing the amount of task repetitions allows learners to build stronger neural pathways, making it easier for them to perform tasks accurately and efficiently. The author also suggests building scaffolding into assignments. This will allow the instructor to adjust the task so that it continues to target an appropriate level of challenge for the learner. The author states that an appropriate level of challenge is not too easy or too hard. It is also important to remember that research shows that resistance in the form of challenge and mistakes are necessary for growth and development. The author emphasizes the importance of feedback loops where learners receive feedback, make adjustments, and practice again. To be most effective, feedback should be targeted, which will provide prioritized information about the learner's performance, frequent, which focuses on specific areas where improvement is needed. It should be delivered timely and as soon as a task is completed so that learners could immediately apply it. This aligns with research that tells us that strong feedback is necessary for expertise development. It must state the desired state, current state, as well as a path for improvement. Following this cycle will help instructors reinforce the relationship between the components and highlight how practice, feedback, and goals continuously influence and guide the learner's development. Principle 6 focuses on how student development as well as climate of the classroom impacts learning. The author states that if we understand developmental processes of our students, we can better shape the climate of instruction. But it is also important to understand and remember that climate may be experienced differently by different learners. The author suggests the following strategies. First, making uncertainty safe. This relates to psychological safety, which refers to the perception that an individual's work environment is safe for taking interpersonal risks. Instructors should seek to create a supportive environment where learners feel comfortable asking questions, making mistakes, as well as taking risks. It's also important that instructors examine their assumptions about students and incorporate evidence into performance and grading criteria. Instructors should model inclusive language, behavior, and attitudes. This can be accomplished by recognizing differences in culture and neurodiversity. Additionally, using universal design for learning to plan lessons can make it a learning environment that is accommodating for everybody. Principle 7 focuses on self-directed learning, a process where learners take initiative in diagnosing their learning needs, planning their goals, reflecting, and evaluating their progress. Knoll's assumptions of adult learning tells us that adults are self-directed learners. By engaging in metacognition, adults can guide their learning by setting goals and reflecting on their progress. This aligns with research that states that self-regulation of planning, reflection, and adjusting are key for metacognitive control. Instructors should be aware that there are barriers to self-directed learning when students have beliefs about their own intelligence and learning. The author suggests that addressing students' beliefs about learning and helping students set realistic expectations and foster a growth mindset. Overall, the 7 principles provided in this book are supported by strong strategies to help guide instructional decisions. It was great to see how the concepts presented in this book overlapped with the concepts of adult learning that we learned and discussed in class.